Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode, this one is another part of the steam railway history with Foxy. And this very part, after the proceedings of reading the Bluebell Railway history, it's now the next one afterwards in proceedings after that is the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, which is next after the Bluebell Railway. So let's get reading, shall we? Okay. Queen Victoria popularised the Isle of Wight with her purchase of Osborne House and subsequent regular visits, and the island was once served by a characterful and extensive railway network. It was entirely worked by tank locomotives and, before the motor car eroded its traffic, carried huge numbers of holiday makers. The two lines that remain open could hardly be more different from each other, but they are linked by an interchange station, and the Ryde-Shanklin line, still part of the National Railway system, is the best way to reach the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. First-time visitors from London to the island are often surprised by the train awaiting them as they step off the Whitelink ferry from Portsmouth at Ryde Pier. The last thing they would expect to see here is Piccadilly line stock. Much of it was over 30 years old when it was brought across the Solent in 1966, so it conveys something of a museum feel to what is an excellent service. From Ryde, it is a short journey to Smallbrook Junction, where in 1991 Network South East built a new station to serve the preserved steam railway. Anyone who recalls the days of steam on Vectis, as the Romans called the island, would recognise most of the locomotives and carriages that run to Wotton, the western terminus of the 5-mile, 8-kilometre line. It is one of the particular pleasures of the Isle of Wight Steam Railway that almost all of its carriages were built before World War I, and the standard of restoration is quite exceptional. Often passengers spend the first mile or two of a journey admiring the interior of their carriage, rather than enjoying the scenery. The first part of the line to the railway's headquarters at Haven Street is through woodland carpeted in bluebells in May, followed by views across fields to distant hills. It is well worth stopping off at Haven Street to look at the museum about the island's railways, situated beside the shop in a former gasworks building. Rather surprising for a rural location, this structure was built as an act of benevolence by local landowner John Rylands, well known to Mancunians for the library named after him. The engine shed can also be visited under supervision. The activity at Haven Street today is a marked contrast to the peace of earlier times, when the tranquility included adders and a swan to find their way into the ground-level signal box, though not at the same time. Train service March to May and October, Thursday and Sunday, end May to end September, daily. Telephone 01983 882 204 or 884 343. Okay, now to the next one. Now to Kent and East Sussex Railway, where I've been to before, and I actually went not too long ago. Though I did not ride it, I went there for a good reason. Why I went to the Kent and East Sussex Railway, which is the next railway we're on to right now, was because of the Kent the Tenterden bus rally event, and Tenterden is the starting point of the Kent-Sussex Railway. Tenterden is in Kent, by the way, and the ending point is in East Sussex, and my goodness, is it an enchanting bus rally event, the Tenterden bus rally event. It really most certainly is an enchanting event, for certain. One of the most extraordinary characters in the history of British Railways was Lieutenant Colonel Holman Frederick Stevens. After studying civil engineering at London University, he went on to build some very marginal railways, providing links that the large railway companies had declined to construct. One of these was the Kent-Sussex Railway, originally running from Robertsbridge to Headcorn via the Cinque Port of Tenterden. Another now preserved line with which he was involved as civil and mechanical engineer was the Festiniog Railway. None of his railways made more than slender profits and most lost money, a situation that was not followed to continue for long after his death in 1931. The majority were gradually closed. But a good serviced between Robertsbridge and Tenterden until 1961. A preservation bid was eventually successful after a court battle with the then Minister for Transport, and the first section reopened in 1974. Today, some 7 miles, 11.2 kilometres are operating between Tenterden Town and Northian. The intention is to extend this for the 3.5 miles, 5.5 kilometres to Bodiam to carry passengers to the National Trust's magnificent 14th century castle, followed by the final 3 miles, 5 kilometres to Robertsbridge and a link with the main rail track line. Colonel Stevens' line is differed in character, but they had one thing in common. Everything was done on a shoestring, including the engineering works and buildings, which were executed to the minimum standards or size possible. Most of the original buildings had been swept away by the time the preservationists took over, but a few remain, most notably the station buildings at Tenterden, where most passengers begin their journey. Indeed, this was the only brick station building on the line, the others being wood or corrugated iron. The adaptation of old buildings for the needs of visitors at Tenterden has been so well done that you would think the signal box had been opposite the station since the line opened in 1903. It was, in fact, rescued from Chilham between Ashford and Canterbury. The Buffet is thought to be the oldest bus station in the country, possibly the oldest in the world, having been built in 1921 to serve Maidstone. One of the pleasures of a journey on this line is its authentic collection of locomotives, one of the railway's 2 well-known Terrier-class locomotives under the English Channel. Actually worked the railway during Colonel Stevens' years. Another diminutive tank engine, number 1556, was hired to the Kent-Sussex during the 1930s and 40s. The railway's carriages are as heterogeneous a collection as might have been found on any of the Colonel's railways. Pride of the place goes to the well-restored Victorian coaches, which range from rather Spartan four-wheelers to the unique London and North Western Railway directors, saloon and a pair of family saloons. A 50-minute journey from Tenterden takes you steeply downturn through pasture and woods to Rolvenden, where the engine shed and workshops have been situated since Colonel Stevens's day. Here the tank locomotives and one tender engine are restored and maintained. Passing beside willow and reed-fringed channels on the right, the train skirts a freshwater crayfish farm and heads out across flat fields that were once under the English Channel. The willows were planted during the 1930s in a rather sad gesture to augment the railway's meagre income. The station at Wittersham Road may look all of the piece to anyone unversed in the nice distinctions of railway architecture, but the ensemble could hardly be more cosmopolitan. The station building came from North Wales, the water tower from Shrewsbury, the signals from Ireland, and the signal box and lamps from Kent. The use of the word road was a kind of code that the railway companies used to indicate that the station was some distance from the village it purported to serve. In this case, 3 miles, 5 kilometres. However, the village with its windmill, oast house, and even a Sir Edwin Lutyens's house is well worth the walk. The steep gradient that starts from the signal box at the platform end has the locomotive barking loudly through the cutting to the summit, after which a gentle curve leads on the longest straight on the line as it crosses the Rother levels to Northiam, with its beautifully restored station, a corrugated iron original. Train service from March to October, ranging from Sundays only in March to daily during June to August. Santa specials. Telephone 01580 762 943. That's it. The end of this part, that is. But we did, like I said, I was going to do either 2 or 3, but could not completely decide. But certainly did we not do less than 2, which is what really counts. But should be more or less the same for the very next part, when I'm reading this very book indeed, for the next episode for certain. Thanks everybody indeed for watching this latest episode of the Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. Please do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the very next video. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy.